New details in K-pop demon hunters appear every single day. By the end of the day, you can count at least 100 hidden details, clues and hints that were right in front of you but you didn't notice before. Some of them may have already caught your eye if you watched the movie a second time, but without a guide like this, you would never notice them all. That's why this video is important. So get comfortable because it will show you K-pop demon hunters from the side you never saw before. The very first flashback in Rumi's past takes us to a graveyard under the ancient totem tree. We see Celine sitting by a gravestone that belongs to Rumi's mother. She looks at Rumi and tells her that one day she will also become a demon hunter just like her mother, but something in this scene feels strange, almost like something doesn't fit. If we look closely at the gravestone, we see the words Rumi Young's grave. This tells us that here lies Rumi's mother, but the stone is missing something very important. There are no dates of birth or death. Gravestones almost always include them. So why is this one blank? Then we notice something else. In front of the gravestone are 3 red apples. Offering food on a grave is a Korean tradition. It shows respect and it's a way of sharing the food with ancestors. But here is the question, why exactly 3 apples? In Korean culture, odd numbers are common for offerings, but the number 3 in particular may hide extra meaning that we are about to discover in the second part of K-pop Demon Hunters. And still the scene becomes even stranger. We know this graveyard is located around the totem tree, the sacred place where previous hunters are buried and where new hunters take their oath to serve the human world. All the gravestones here are located close to each other in front of the tree. Yet Rumi's mother's gravestone is different. It stands alone, far away from all the others. What could be the reason for that? Comment below if you noticed these details too, and let's move deeper to uncover even more. We already know that Rumi's unusual hair color came from her demon father in the human world. Everyone is born with black hair and brown eyes, so her purple color had to come from the demon side of her family. But there's another important detail about her hair that is easy to miss. In the flashbacks to the performances of hunters from the past, we see a group called the Sunlight Sisters. In the center of the group stands Celine, who would later become the leader. She is the one who would go on to teach Mira, Rumi, and Zoey to become demon hunters. But if we look to the left of Celine, we see a girl dancing with a long braided hairstyle. The braid looks exactly like Rumi's, only her hair is black. This girl is Rumi's mother, and now it becomes clear. While Rumi's hair color came from her father, her hairstyle was inherited from her mother, but there is more. The story of K-pop demon hunters both begins and ends with the image of a specific tree. This is where the girls stand together and take their oath to fight demons. It is also the same tree where Celine meets Rumi when her demon side takes over. But here's the surprise. This tree doesn't appear only at the start and the end. It secretly shows up one more time. In the flashbacks to earlier generations of hunters, some of the girls are wearing a pin. On that pin, we can clearly see the same tree. It flashes by very quickly, but for anyone searching for secrets, it cannot be hidden. And that's not the only hidden sign. When we look at the earlier hunter groups, we see they are all different, yet they share one thing in common. A special pattern keeps appearing. First, it shows up on the girl in the middle. Then it appears on the girl in the center. After that, it shows up again on the hunter to the right. And finally, it appears on Celine herself. This isn't just decoration. The pattern may represent the chosen hunter, the one with the mission to train the next generation. That's why it was Celine who taught Huntrix how to fight demons. But the real hint is this. In Huntrix, the same pattern appears exactly on Rumi. Even though the pattern is linked to her demon side, it may also mean something more. It could mean that Rumi will be the chosen one and will become the hunter, who trains the next generation after Huntrix. Do you think we might see this in K-pop Demon Hunters Part 2? As the story continues, we learn the truth about Jinu. He was once human. He lived with his little sister and his mother, but their life was miserable. They had no money and no future. So in desperation, Jinu made a deal with Demon's King Guima. The deal gave him a new life, but it forced him to leave his family behind. We often see his little sister appear in his memories, reminding him of the shame he feels and the hatred he has for himself. But here's the hidden part. This little girl shows up even before Jinu himself enters the story. At the very beginning of the movie, when the first generation of hunters is shown fighting demons and protecting the village, Jinu's sister is there. She appears right in front of them. Her soul shines brightly, which tells us she is protected from the demons. But sadly, she wasn't protected from her own brother. Soon after, Jinu abandoned his family to chase a richer life, leaving them behind to starve. But in that same opening scene, another strange figure appears. Along with the demons rising from the ground, we see someone wearing a cloak and a hat. This demon doesn't look like the others. His appearance is more human. Because we see him with the first generation of hunters, it's possible reveal that this is Guima himself. Long before he took on his fiery form, we already know that demons entered the human world, and at the same time hunters appeared to fight them. Only later did Guima transform into the form we recognize now. But here's another idea. If this figure is not Guima, then it may be one of the Saja boys. Just think about it. In the demon world, only the Saja boys appear human. Other demons can only take human form when they are in the human world. So could this mysterious figure be one of the future Saja boys? And if so, which one exactly? Be sure to share your versions in the comments. A lot of little details are hidden in the beginning, but there are even more hidden throughout the rest of the movie. Because of her demon marks, Rumi kept her distance from the other girls for most of her life. This wasn't only about avoiding the bathhouse. Even though they performed together as a group, they used different fitting rooms. Rumi couldn't change her clothes in front of them without showing her demon marks. But when we look closer at these rooms, something strange appears. In Zoey and Mira's room, there are 2 posters on the walls, but the posters are not centered. They are placed to the side, leaving space for something else. In Rumi's room, however, we see her single poster hanging all alone. This detail shows something touching. Zoey and Mira left space for Rumi's poster in their room because they never lost hope that one day she would join them fully. And even though the moment isn't shown directly, by the end it finally happens. Rumi opens up to her friends, and from that moment on, every performance will be prepared in one shared fitting room. The romantic storyline also hides its own details. Did you notice that on their first date, Jinu copied Rumi's hoodie style? From the very first time they met, take a closer look. When Rumi first meets Jinu, she is wearing a pink hoodie with a coat on top. Later, when they meet in private, Jinu is wearing a green hoodie with a jacket on top. The style is almost the same. And it goes further. On their first date, Jinu surprises Rumi by suddenly sitting on the roof. On their second date, Rumi does the exact same thing to Jinu, scares him by sitting in the same pose. But that's not all. During their second meeting, Rumi gives Jinu a bracelet. It could have easily been forgotten among all the other events. Yet later during the performance with Guima on stage, we see Jinu still wearing that bracelet. This small detail shows something very big. Even while Jinu was obeying Guima, a part of him already belonged to Rumi. We know that later Jinu sacrificed himself to protect Rumi and his soul entered her sword. But here is a shocking detail many miss. When Rumi tries to resist Guima, we see Jinu standing to the side in his demon form. His eyes glow golden, the same as all demons. But the moment he steps between Guima and Rumi, his eyes turn brown, the color of humans. This tiny detail tells us that in that very moment, when Jinu chose to protect Rumi with his body, his deal with Guima was broken. He became human again, and that is why his soul was able to enter Rumi's sword. And there's more. Just before this moment, Rumi is shown in her demon form with wild, messy hair. But as soon as Jinu's soul enters her sword, her appearance changes completely. Her hair becomes smooth and perfect, showing she is finally in harmony with herself. But let's be honest, not all details in the movie can be explained. Some remain a mystery till today. At the very end of the movie, we see the girls walking together on the street. Rumi no longer hides her marks, and their friendship is stronger than ever. But then we notice something strange. Zoey is wearing a hoodie with a derby tiger print. Throughout the movie, Zoey never meets the derby tiger or his companion the magpie. These creatures are Jinu's spiritual guides and only appear with him. So how could Zoey know about them, let alone wear a hoodie with their image? This may be a hidden hint for part 2 of K-pop Demon Hunters. And perhaps we will discover something about Zoey that we never expected. The final shot makes it even clearer. The derby tiger and magpie appear again on the roof. Beneath them is a banner that says "Come back." This tells us one thing: Huntrix will return in part 2 very soon, and with them will come many more hidden details. But you don't need to wait for release date of K-pop Demon Hunters part 2 to know the future. Click now to watch the video that will share all the theories about K-pop Demon Hunters 2 and reveal events that will blow your mind.